Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the first lesson of the year. Just a real quick note on the sort of structure of lessons. I try to give you a lesson title, tell you where you can find more information in the textbook, which you won't have, but I will put the chapter PDFs onto Canvas, so you'll see the chapter 1 PDF there. And then the associated AP topics that you can refer to on AP Classroom. It's just a quick introduction today, just a little bit to get us going in statistics, which is, I believe, a really important math or science. And the reason we do it is to try and understand and explain the world around us, which is why we do most math. I'll also try to give you the learning targets, the things that we're trying to take away from this. If you want to, you can always go back and refer to them. I don't know if you need to write them down because they will be posted on Canvas. So if you need to, you can always go back and refer to them later. So the first thing I want to get us thinking about is who we are trying to figure something out about. Who are we studying? And there are two different types of groups we can study. We can study a population. And a population is the entire group we want to know about. So for example, if all I want to know is information on AP Statistics students at Unity Reed High School, I could just refer to the population as the students in this class. Populations usually tend to be very big, and they usually tend to be so big and even spread out that typically we are not able to find out the information from every member of the population. And so in order to try and study that in population without being able to get a hold of the whole thing, we take samples. Samples are representative groups. They're smaller, but we try to make them representative of the entire population. We will talk about how we can get a representative sample. We can talk about what ruins our representative sample. And then we can talk about how we can take the information from that sample and apply it to the population, and that's what we're going to do throughout the year. But for right now, we are just trying to determine, hey, what is the entire population we are trying to figure out, and what is the smaller sample that we've taken. So in this example, we have an evaluation of 25 tablets from a variety of manufacturers, and that 25 tablets would be a sample. The population that we are interested here in knowing about is probably tablets, any tablet that exists. And we would probably want to be careful with how far we went with that, because maybe there are different types of tablets. But the 25 tablets is a sample of a larger population of tablets that we want to know about. We're not going to be able to evaluate every tablet that exists or that has been manufactured, and so we try to take a representative sample, in this case these 25 tablets. So I want you to pause here. I want you to read this little problem. This is from the textbook, which you can also find again on Canvas, the textbook information unit 1 or chapter 1. And I want you to try and identify the population we're interested in and the sample that we used to find something out about the population. So a lot of times the population is not explicitly expressed in our setup. What this person did is he ended up documenting what drivers did, 2,500 drivers, that is, when they rode by him, whether he was wearing his helmet or not. And so that 2,500 drivers, that is our sample. The population that we're probably trying to figure out about is probably all drivers, but we would probably want to be careful with that. We might only want to consider our population's drivers on the roads where this professor rode his bike. You know that there are jokes about different drivers in different states, and so people might drive differently depending on where we are, city, country, in a village, in a town. So our sample is the 2,500 drivers. The population is probably anybody who drives on those roads. Of course, once we know our population and our sample, we want to know what is it we want to know about them. And there are two different types of things that we can know. We can know things that are categorical, and we can know things that are quantitative. Uh, Categorical variables do not have units. Quantitative variables do have units. They're things that are measurable. So quantitative variables are measurable. Categorical variables are things that sound exactly like the name says, that we can put into categories. They are counts. We're not measuring anything. We're just counting the number of things in a category. And so if I look here, we're back to talking about tablet computers. We have a bunch of variables. Let's identify the quantitative ones first. Those are things that we can measure. There's some sort of unit associated with that. And so cost would be one of those measurable quantitative variables. We can use dollars or pounds. I think this is a British reference. Battery life is in hours. How long do these things last before you have to charge them? And then performance score. The unit might not seem obvious. Maybe it's points, but that is something that is measurable. And so that leaves us with our operating system as a categorical variable. We can just take the tablets and count the number that run off of iOS, Android, RIM, for those of you who ever owned a BlackBerry or know somebody who did. And then, of course, the manufacturer. These are not measurables. These are things we can get counts of. So they are categorical variables. So hopefully this isn't too blurry. If it is, this will be in Unit 1, number 15, or Chapter 1, number 15, there on the PDF that I posted on Canvas. Pause here, read this, and identify the categorical and quantitative variables. So here we have three variables. We had the type of meat on the sandwich, the number of calories, and the serving size. And so our only categorical variable would be the meat type. We can look at the sandwiches and put them into different categories and count the number of, say, chicken, fish, beef. And then for quantitative, we have calories. We can measure the calories in calories, and the serving size in ounces. So this is just a really quick intro to starting to think about statistics. What or who are we trying to find something out about? That's the population in the sample. Really important to go into a problem understanding who we're trying to find something out about. And then what are we trying to find out about them? Our categorical or quantitative variables. Whether our variable is categorical or quantitative is going to drive how we proceed once we collect our information. So make sure you stick around and answer the questions that pop up after this video so you can get full credit. If you do have questions, please make sure you raise your hand and ask anytime you need it, even if you're in the middle of watching your lesson. So make sure you do the problems, and good luck.